March is a month dedicated to honoring strength, resilience, and achievements of women across the world. It's International Women's Month, a time to recognize the fight for gender equality and reflect on how far we've come and how far we still have to go. The United Nations created Sustainable Development Goal number 5, gender equality, because even in the 21st century, women and girls continue to face discrimination and barriers in education, leadership, and economic opportunities. At the heart of this movement is feminism. But what does that really mean? Feminism isn't just a word. It's a movement that has evolved. And it didn't happen all at once. It has progressed in waves, each bringing new opportunities, new battles, new voices, and new victories. But how did it all begin? And where are we now? Let's dive into the history of feminism, one wave at a time. Before women could even dream about becoming presidents or CEOs, they had to fight for something super basic, the right to vote. Back in 1848, the Seneca Falls Convention kicked off the women's suffrage movement. After decades of protests and struggles, white women finally won the right to vote in 1920 with the 19th Amendment. Though women of color had to fight even longer, but that's another story.
Never underestimate the power we women have to define our own destinies. We do not want to be lawbreakers. We want to be lawmakers.
This movie tells the true story of the brave women who risked everything to demand voting rights in early 1900s. It shows how suffragettes, who were mostly working-class women, fought against an unfair justice system that didn't see them as equals. The women in suffragette are not just sitting at home, waiting for change. They take action, protest, and even get jailed. This was a time when women were expected to be quiet and obedient, but these women said, "Nope, we deserve a voice." The first wave of feminism changed the world forever, proving that when women fight for change, they win. By the 1960s, women were like, okay, we can vote, but we still don't have equal rights at work or even our own bodies. Like, seriously? This wave pushed for reproductive rights, equal pay, and better opportunities for women in the workplace.
Pentagon briefings are not for civilians. It requires the highest clearance.
I feel like I'm the best person to present my
You're not gonna
calculations.
let this go, are you?
No, I am not.
And she is a woman. There is no protocol for a woman.
This movie tells the real-life story of three brilliant black women who worked at NASA in the 1960s. Even though they were essential to sending astronauts into space, they were constantly underestimated because of their race and gender. Hidden Figures represents the second wave because it shows how women, especially women of color, were fighting for their place in male-dominated spaces. It highlights how unfair rules made it harder for them to succeed, but they proved their worth and changed history anyway. By the 90s and early 2000s, feminism was about breaking stereotypes. Women didn't just want to be equal. They wanted to be powerful and unapologetic.
First, I was angry. And then I realized my anger was completely misdirected. I mean, this wasn't the salon's fault. I had sat there and witnessed this injustice, and I just let it happen.
At first, people think Elle Woods is just
And a dumb blonde with
but she proves that you can be both feminine and intelligent. She gets into Harvard Law, slay in the court, and shows everyone that women don't have to fit into one box. This is third wave of feminism in action. Women can be strong and successful while still embracing their femininity. You don't have to choose between being girly and being smart. You can be both. Today, we're seeing more women in leadership than ever before. CEOs, presidents, superheroes in movies, you name it. This wave also focuses on intersectionality, meaning it fights for all women.
We have to always be extraordinary. But somehow we're always doing it wrong. Like, you have to be thin, but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy, but also you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane, but if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much or that you threaten other women, because you're supposed to be a part of the sisterhood, but always stand out and always be grateful. But never forget that the system is rigged.
This movie flips the script on Barbie. Instead of being just about fashion and beauty, it explores feminism, self-worth, and gender expectations. It shows Barbie stepping into the real world and realizing things aren't as fair as they seem in Barbie Land. It perfectly represents fourth wave feminism because it questions unrealistic gender expectations and encourages women to take control of their own stories. It's all about breaking free from outdated ideas of what women should be. Feminism is about recognizing the strength in the women around us, the ones who raise us, teach us, heal us, and inspire us. Because feminism isn't about one gender overpowering another. It's about equality. It's about choice. It's about creating a world where no girl is told she's less than and no woman is denied the life she deserves. Because when women rise, society rises with them. Because the fight isn't over. And together, we are unstoppable. Babae ka, hindi babae lang.